the collapsed building in front of the 3-story building, which is supposed to be a school. Yes, we don't have the name of the school yet. People gathered here, and then sources confirmed to us that before we got here, they rescued 2 children. Some of them died. Some of them had died before they were rescued, and some unconscious. Some were still awake, very much awake.
In Nigeria, education insecurity has become a pressing issue, threatening the future of millions of children and the stability of the nation. About 1,680 pupils have been abducted in Nigeria since 2014, according to a report by Save the Children.
UNESCO says the number of out-of-school children in Nigeria is 20.2 million. That's about 10% of our population roaming the streets when they are meant to be in the classroom. We can't afford to look away. This is now a burning platform, and we should all be concerned about this, because as we all appreciate, there is a correlation between illiteracy and insecurity.
From the abduction of over 200 Chibok schoolgirls to the recent attacks on schools in Zamfara and Katsina, no region is immune to this crisis.
We are an advocacy NGO which seeks to mobilize the massive Nigerian diaspora as well as friends of Nigeria into a cohesive voice that seeks to advocate against a lot of the insecurity and social injustices which the nation of Nigeria is suffering.
But for a lot of Nigerians,
yes,
perhaps the greatest risk they face today is the risk of leaving their homes and not coming back.
Absolutely.
How would you describe the state of peace in Nigeria today?
I'm a risk practitioner, and in risk we equate it on those 3 levels. It's what we call the green, the amber, and the red. So meaning green for low level of security alertness, amber for medium, and of course if it's red, it means that it is the heightened state. I would say across Nigeria today, we see that it is at the heightened state. While some states may be at the amber level, but generally speaking, we may be at the heightened state of insecurity as a country today. The notion of homeland security is derived from the notion of national security. National security is the full domain of the government, and the institutions that are legitimately put in place to do that. That's why you have your government security forces, you have your defense forces, your army, your navy, your air force, and your DSS and your NIA, your National Intelligence Agencies. That's what they are wired to do. Now, if that fails, then you can understand that your homeland will also naturally be affected. So for the homeland, I like to use that word homeland because it brings it more home. It brings it more home for us to understand what we face as a nation. Now, your homeland security, which today we call our interior ministry. You have your immigration service, you have your correctional service, that's your prison service, you have the National Security, Civil and Defense Corps, and fourth on that people do not understand or recognize is your private security industry that provides a lot of subtle support. And I dare say as well, I need to include the police in that equation so that your homeland, there's a lot that goes into your homeland security. And for far too long, we've wasted resources in what you call your security votes for state governors and all of that.
The consequences are dire. Many children have been displaced, deprived of their right to education, and left traumatized by their experiences. Compounding the problem are dilapidated school buildings, overcrowded classrooms, and a lack of resources. IA Foundation and PSJUK have partnered with the UK House of Parliament to launch a report on education terrorism in Nigeria.
A big social injustice today is that being done to the huge number of children and young people in country who are not receiving formal education and fueling the out-of-school statistics. This is not just an injustice to these young ones who have been made in God's image, but also stands as a very significant threat to the peace, economic prosperity, and stability of our dear nation Nigeria for today and even more so for the future.
Education is not just a privilege, it's a fundamental human right. Together, we must work to ensure that every child in Nigeria can learn and thrive in a safe and supportive environment.